and we'll see how that, yeah, there we go. Okay. Now it doesn't want to go to, there we go. Okay, so this is Using English to See the World. I'm Sheila Stone, owner of Sheila Stone Tours. And let me explain what it is we're doing here. Would you be interested in spending a free week in one of several European countries helping locals improve their English? So I'm going to explain how it works and, show you how you can join in. Okay, so what it is, this is an opportunity to get to know locals in a unique way. You have, excuse me, you have wonderful amounts of fun, and it's a great way to stay in a lovely place and eat great food for free. Summer camp with no teenage hormones and wine at lunch and dinner. Okay, what it isn't. It's not a timeshare thingy. It's not a multi-level marketing program, and they're not trying to sell you anything, and neither am I. I don't work for them. I did my first program in 2005, and I've done a bunch of programs since then. And why do they do this? Well, these are sponsored by English schools, and English is the language of business. And so if a multinational company has offices, as I said, in Germany and Spain, chances are the employees are going to communicate in English. So you don't need to have a TEFL certificate, which is teaching English as a foreign language. You don't need to be a grammar nerd. You don't need to speak the local language. Everything is conducted in English. You will stay at a 4-star hotel. These are places I have stayed. You have a lovely room. These are photographs of the rooms I've had, some of them. You'll eat delicious food. This is real food that I helped myself to. Breakfast is particularly in Spain, breakfast is an enormous buffet. Lunch and dinner are usually 3 courses, and you pick out what you're going to have the day before. I'll get into that a little bit, or I'll answer questions at the end. There are drinks, but usually you drink from a glass. Although that can have its own problems. This is my friend Paula, who's English. I left her to go to the bathroom at our table. I came back and went, what the heck? What did you do? Anyway, all you need to do in exchange is just talk with interesting native speakers about anything, as long as it's in English. In the evenings, even more fun. Now, Diverbo is the company, and in Spain, the program they do is called Pueblo Inglés, which is English school, English house. I'm going to talk a little bit. They start in Madrid. These are pictures from Madrid, one of my favorite cities in the world. This is Plaza del Sol. Madrid is actually in the dead center of Spain, and here's the proof. Plaza Mayor, which is a beautiful meeting place, and there you can get tapas on Calle Baja. Wonderful, wonderful food. Mercado de San Miguel, which is this was designed by a name you might be familiar with, the guy who designed the Eiffel Tower. So Mr. Eiffel. And it kind of looks like it, you know. It is literally food porn. Walking through, it's just like, oh my gosh, even if you don't buy anything or eat anything or drink anything, it's worth it just to go through, just to see how they display the food. Now, the Spanish are wonderful when it comes to breakfasts. On the left is pastel de nata, which is actually Portuguese. On the right is chocolate con churro, which literally is thick, warm chocolate pudding you dip churros in. And that is considered a decent breakfast. Let's hear it for Spain. There are drinks, of course, sangria, which is more of a touristy thing, and tinto verano, which is like red wine with, it's a summer drink, red wine with soda or lemonade in it. They have beer, of course. And this is one of my favorite places to eat. That is called La Bodega Bohemia. which is a great place to listen to live music, sing karaoke, or hang out with your friends. And that's something that we always do when we're there. And you can save money in Madrid by staying at an hostal. Now, that's not a hostel. It's a small family-run hotel. They are centrally located. They're not posh, but they're safe, clean, and lovingly maintained. Look at this lovely flower that they made my towel into. And there were little candies on top. And these are things you might see in Madrid, although your results may vary. The couple at the top were dancing for money, like busking, only with dancing. The guy at the bottom, my friends and I were sitting in Plaza Mayor having breakfast, and he came by and sang to us, which was a nice way to start the day. And then the procession, my friend and I were having dinner, and we heard this noise. And we didn't want to both jump up and run away from the table, so it would look like, we weren't paying our bill. So we took turns, and there was a procession going through the street, which was really cool. Now, back to Diverbo, or Pueblo Inglés. They do an orientation, so you can, the day before the program starts, so that you can meet the other Anglos. Now, this is not with the Spaniards. This is just with, everyone is, English speakers are defined as Anglos. It is, obviously, that is defined linguistically. But here is a picture I took at one of the presentations. They have live flamenco. Casa Patas is a flamenco school. And so these are, their top performers. And there is wonderful paella. You get a wonderful lunch, paella, dessert, wine, and a show. Now, this is the place that I have done most of my programs at. I have done other programs in different places in Spain, but most of them have been done at this place, which is called, outside of a village called La Alberca. And La Alberca is in, it's near Salamanca. And it's up in the mountains, and it's absolutely stunning. Now, these are the rooms, the buildings that you stay in. And as you can see, it looks a little bit like, it's almost like it's a, what would you call it?
Neuter.
Well, yeah.
A dormitory?
No, it's not a dormitory. It's sort of like a duplex. So you've got 2 rooms in each part, an upstairs room and a downstairs room. And by room, I mean room with a private bathroom. The upstairs usually goes to the Spaniard, and the downstairs goes to the Anglo. So you have a house. This is the pool, not bad. And the lovely thing is, what you can do while you're doing one-to-ones, and you do a lot of one-to-ones, is you can just walk up the hill. There's a lovely hotel, and you can get a cup of coffee and sit and talk, or you can go down by the pool or in the garden and just relax. The only thing that you have to do is talk in English. Here we are sitting by the pool. It was a one-to-one. They were sitting next to us. I had my own guy that I was talking to. And this is the view from one of the rooms that I've had there.
Wow.
Not bad. Now, this is the actual village, which is, as I said, is called La Alberca. It is a village. It is somewhat touristy, but the tourists are all from Spain or Portugal. It's not on the American, British, German beaten path. One of the interesting things about the village is they have a pig who wanders around. He starts out as a baby pig in the early part of the year, and he gets fed by everybody in the village. He wanders around for a year, and then in
Oh my God.
January, I think it is, his wonderful life does come sadly to an end, and he is raffled off. But the reason they do this is back during the times of the Inquisition, this village contained not only Catholic families, but Jewish families as well. And what they did to keep the Inquisition from their door, at least what they did to attempt to keep the Inquisition from their door, is they did this thing with the pig, and everybody let the pig in, including the Jewish families. And that is, they've continued doing that to this day. So he's the famous L'Alberca pig. Another place I stayed was called Candeleda, a different part of Spain. This is my friend sitting outside of her casita, and this is the view from my room. Again, not so bad. What we did on they usually have one day out where you go and you see something local, and there was a cave nearby. So we got to go through the cave, which was really beautiful. And these are some of the things you might do when you're on the program. You might join a rock band. Obviously, this is being silly. Or take part in a skit. You might wear a silly wig, although probably not so much since COVID. This was taken before COVID, and everybody loved the silly wigs. Jamón is a big deal. Jamón is ham, and it can be staggeringly expensive, but it can also, even the not quite as expensive kinds are very good. And you can sit in gazebos and just hang out and talk. You have dinner together, and there's a party night. And let me tell you, the Spaniards, they know how to party. You can also have your photo taken surrounded by gorgeous Spanish men, which is, worst things can happen. That's my friend Paula looking terribly upset, as you can see. And by this time, this is the end of the week. So it wasn't like a bunch of people you didn't know. After you've spent a week together, you know these people. They're friends. I did not do this, but my son, I did one program with my son, and he tried to pick me up and put me on the bar. And I said no, because I didn't want to fall off, break my leg, and have to explain that to the insurance company. However, we did do a little bit of dancing. Good story. This was as good as I got. That's my youngest son. That was in 2008. And of course, by the end of the evening, everybody has to do Thriller, because you just do. And then, the next day, things are a little more quiet. When you're in Madrid, you can do, if you extend your stay either before or after, there are some wonderful day trips. This is Segovia. It doesn't take that long to get there by train. Segovia is most famous for this viaduct, which was built by the Romans. So it's very old and was built without mortar. And it's still, obviously, as you can see, it's standing quite well. Thank you very much. Another place you can go is Toledo. Toledo, which is where we get the term Holy Toledo, because they have both a cathedral and a very large synagogue, is a stunningly beautiful city.
I love Toledo.
Yeah, up on the hill. It's also, if you go to Toledo, I would, if you can avoid going on the weekend, do, because it is really touristy. Now, Diverbo also does programs in Germany. So they call them Englishhausen. So it's the same thing, English House. And I only did the German program once. I would go back. I tried to do it last year, and their program was full, so I didn't get to go. And when I did this one, it was in November. So as you can tell, it's a little more gloomy. But it was beautiful. The hotel was gorgeous. The people were lovely. We still went for a walk and saw this beautiful area. This was outside of Frankfurt, actually outside of a village called Laubach, which I know I do not pronounce right, because when I tried to explain it to my German friend, she thought I meant a completely different city. And you can see, and of course, the Germans do beer. You can still get wine at lunch and dinner, but you can also get beer, or my personal favorite, which is on the left, apple wine, which is sort of apple cidery. But it is alcoholic, but it's lovely. It's light and it's not real sweet, but it's not real tart. It's just fabulous stuff. When we were in the village, one of the guys called me over and bought me this. It's called an Amerikaner pastry, which of course I'd never heard of. And basically it's a slab of baked dough with a thick layer of icing on top. Yeah, I know. I don't know what that says about us. No subtlety. You know?
I'm sorry
But it did
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
I have to leave, and I appreciate this. Will you be posting a link in the
As soon as I figure out how to upload it, I will. And I will
Okay.
post a link and send it to everybody.
All right. Thank you so much for all
Okay,
of this.
Sure. Okay, bye-bye. Okay, so this is the It did go well with coffee. And this I thought was genius. Each room had this little guy, and if you look at him closely, you can see there are needles and thread and safety pins, and it was just so if you needed to make any clothing repairs, this was hanging by the door. Genius. And of course, there you also get to pose with good-looking men. That was Christoph from Switzerland, and gosh, what was his name? The guy on the right, anyway, who was lovely. Angloville is a different program. Now, Angloville is a different company. They actually patterned their program on the Diverbo program, and they are in Central Europe. Now, I've done their program twice, once in Budapest and once in Krakow. Now, Budapest is Hungary, obviously. Beautiful city. It actually is two cities, Buda and Pest, and they kind of came together and became one city. This is one of the most wonderful museums I've ever been to. It was a museum of art and design, and just look at the outside. The inside of the museum looked like you were walking inside a wedding cake. It was just stunning. I really loved the metro. The metro is the second oldest metro in the world after the Tube in London. And the Hungary had a bad last century. You know, they sided with Germany in both of the wars, and then they ended up under the control of the Soviet Union. But these wonderful cars, they remind me of old Airstream trailers, and they're kind of rattly, and but I just thought it was charming as all get out. And Hungary, in Budapest, is famous for baths. So you've got these beautiful public baths that you can go visit. And here is a picture of the happiest dog in Budapest at a fountain. He was just, it was hilarious. He was having such a good time. And these are a couple of things. The day after the program ended, the lady on the left, the lady in pink, that's my friend Kate, that's who I went with. And the lady on the left is Kati. And Kati was one of the native speakers, and she spent the day showing us around, which was fabulous. The guy on the right, he is holding what is known as a langosh. And it's basically fried dough with sour cream and garlic. Oh my gosh, I had a religious experience. It was incredibly good. One of their big drinks is called unicum. And I did try it. It was, I tried it once, you know, try anything once. It was kind of syrupy and bitterish and herby, but it's a big thing there. This is on the grounds where we did our program. And this is some of the people who were in the program. They were, again, absolutely lovely. This is a guy that he was training to be one of the program leaders, the guy on the right, Fernando, who is married to a Hungarian woman, although he's from, I think he was from New Jersey. And then the lady on the left was one of the program participants. And she was having a hard time, that she was so freaked out when she got there, because for us, it's fun. For the native speakers, I have nothing but respect for them. It's got to be terrifying. And she was so freaked out. She wanted to leave, and they asked us to try to, kind of calm her down and everything. So Fernando and I, we did everything but stand on our heads to try to entertain her and convince her that, this would be a good thing. And she did stay. And when they all have to give presentations. And I remember when she gave her presentation, we were acting almost like it was our child. It's like, oh, look at her, our little girl all grown up. She was lovely, absolutely lovely. Another thing that's big in Hungary is palinka. And palinka is basically hooch, fruit hooch. A lot of times homemade. So this is actually for sale, but a lot of people make it at home. And when we had the presentations, there were 4 men. 2 of those 4 men gave presentations on palinka. That lets you know. One of them gave a presentation with samples.
The best kind.
Yes, absolutely. After the program ended, some of the Anglo women who were on the program, and my friend Kate and I, we all went to this outdoor kind of a park where they were serving beer, and it was just lovely. We just hung out, and basically us and a bunch of Hungarians, which is the best way to do it when you're traveling. And as I said, here's Kati showing us around the day after the program. And then I also did a program the following year with Kate in Krakow, Poland. And this is the main church on the square. And believe me, these pictures do not do it justice. I have been to a ridiculous number of cathedrals and basilicas and things like that. And this one was absolutely stunning. You can really hit cathedral burnout. A friend of mine who was also a tour operator said that he called it an ABC tour, which was another bloody cathedral. But this one is stunning. Now, this is the walking toward the town square. The town square in Krakow is the largest in Europe. It is beautiful. They have a lot of horses, horse-drawn carriages, that's kind of a thing. A lot of art. And speaking of art, as Kate and I were walking around, we met this lovely artist and his wife. And he's writing down the foods we needed to try, which was great. Because Polish is a really difficult language. And a lot of the sounds I couldn't replicate. So having it written down, that really helped. And I did buy a little piece of art. So I have a piece of art that he did hanging on my wall, which is lovely. Another thing that just amazed me, I mean, we all know what nesting dolls are. That's kind of a thing, but I had never seen a nesting doll this size. Isn't that incredible? There were 13 in that group, in that nesting group, and the owner of the shop laid them all out for me so I could get pictures. And foods I never thought I'd like. On the left is basically lard spread on bread. Probably not so good for one's heart, but it was good. And then on the right is something the artist and his wife told us about. It's called sour soup. Again, doesn't sound real hopeful, but oh my goodness, it is delicious. And look at the size. This was supposed to be a light meal. We went to a restaurant, and we ordered off the light menu. So we also ordered a bowl of soup, thinking, well, okay, it'll be light, and then we'll have a little bowl of soup too. The bowl of soup was massive. And then these were my cabbage rolls. They look like they have a puppy in it. I mean, they're just huge. But we went to a bar by ourselves. This was before the program. got our beer. And what was really fun is we sat up in the mezzanine and it was mostly empty, but there were a group of Polish young people who were doing karaoke. So they were good. We sat there and listened. And then when we left, we said goodbye and we told them we enjoyed their music. And they were somewhat surprised that they had an audience. Another thing that is wonderful is, oh my goodness, walk around and get an afternoon snack. Now, this is taken inside of the building. You can see it's quite pretty. That was Kate's snack.
Oh my gosh. Lucky
It
Kate.
was, yeah, it was large. It was good and very impressive. And I believe she ate it all. So you gotta love friends like that. Now, one of the things about the programs is you go outside the city. You start in a city because that's the easiest place for everyone to get to, but you don't stay in the city for the program because the whole point is to remove the native speakers from a place where they'll hear their native language, because it's supposed they try to create a little bubble, an English speaking bubble. So we were about 4 hours outside of Krakow. We were down in the south of Poland. Those are the Tatras Mountains. And it looked like we were in freaking Sound of Music, I swear. The hotel was beautiful, very modern. Some of them are historic. This one was very modern. I took this at night, but it has, those are skylights. So it's normally bright blue. This is from, now in the Angloville thing, you don't get your own room, you share a room. So I was sharing with Kate because I went with my friend. If you go with a friend or with a partner, of course you share with them. Otherwise, they usually put you in a room with someone else. Our room, I loved it because you could open the windows and there was no screen. So literally you're looking out the window and it was just beautiful. Of course, Pope John Paul II is a very big thing in Poland because he was the Polish Pope. This was a little church just down the street from our hotel. And inside, it was all carved wood. It was stunning.
Wow. Wow.
Just the on the right, that's actually the ceiling. And I believe on the left, that's a door. But it was beautiful. And then there was this retreat across the street from the church. And again, absolutely beautiful. This is where we ate dinner. Now their food came in, it's the only one I've done like this, but it was a buffet. So you had breakfast, lunch, and dinner was a buffet with a lovely wide selection of food. Delicious food. And we were eating dinner one night and I kind of glanced out the window and this is what I saw. I was like, excuse me, and ran and took a picture because it was just gorgeous. This was in April, I believe. Now, people do love to party and the Polish people love to party as well. And this was the last night. And I'm going to talk a little bit about stories, and we're going to segue right into this. This is Hanya. They have to, all of the students in all of the programs that I've been on have to give usually it's like a 5-minute presentation on any subject in English. And in Spain, they kind of stagger it over several days. But in the Angloville programs, literally everybody shows up, we all sit down, and we all watch all the programs in an afternoon. Well, after the programs go, people are a lot more relaxed. And we were down in the little bar area under, in the basement of the hotel, and Hanya comes down, got on the table, the music was playing, got on the table and began to dance. And I was afraid the table was going to, I'd be afraid to get on a table. But, she danced all around. I was standing at the bar with one of the English guys, a young guy, and he looked at me and he said, if you had to guess one of the Polish people who would be dancing on the tables before 9 p.m., would you have guessed Tanya? The answer was no. I love that was, I'm glad I got a picture of it. I actually have video too, in case anyone cares. I haven't used it for blackmail yet, but I've got it.
Are there any outings where alcohol is not part of the program?
They don't first off, no one has to drink. Secondly, at the Diverbo programs, the alcohol, like the wine, there's a bottle of wine on the table. I would say half the time I don't even take any. In the programs in Central Europe, in the Polish program, alcohol was not available until after dinner and you had to purchase it. In the Hungary program, you could get wine with your dinner. Again, though, you had to purchase it. So it depends. Wine is a bigger thing in Spain. So it depends on the program.
What about food? Because you showed a lot of meat. What if you don't eat meat and dairy?
Okay, we will cover that, but no, you will not starve. They are very good at, I'm not sure about vegan because that's kind of a lot more precise and you would have to contact the program directly to find out, you know, what their options are, excuse me, are for vegan. But yes, they always have vegetarian options.
What about
and
gluten-free? Sorry, I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry?
What about something like gluten-free?
They accommodate that as well, but you do have to let them know in advance. But yes, I've sat with people who were gluten-free and it was not a problem.
Plate?
Okay, that's what I'm trying to get to. Okay, let me talk about this and we will have questions at the end and you can ask me questions about food as well. Believe it or not, this is calamari. It's probably not like any calamari you have ever seen. It certainly was unlike any calamari I had ever seen. They had it on, this was in Spain, in Candeleta, which most of the time the food is amazing. At Candeleta, their chef was struggling. And so were we all. And it had that they had, you know, calamari. So I think everybody chose calamari for the next day's dinner. And this is what we got. They literally had taken this calamari body, boiled it, slapped it on a plate, put a little bit of mayonnaise, and everyone is just going, what the actual heck is that? So at the end of the program, a lot of times there will be like a WhatsApp group, because WhatsApp is a big thing in Europe. And it's a free thing that you can join and people could continue, you know, corresponding with each other in a free way. It's like Facebook Messenger. And you have to come up with a unique name for your group. The unique name for our group was Calamari Like a Condom. And at the end, we divided into groups and everybody had to make up a little song to sing, not individually, it was as a group. And every single song mentioned the calamari. It was truly, only one person I know ate it, and he was this lovely big Italian guy. He was 25, and we were all going, oh my gosh, that was so horrible, that was so horrible. And he went, well, I thought it was okay. It's like, okay, John. This is an actor from Canada named Doug, and we were at the Mercado de San Miguel, and my friend was going to take a picture, and just as she took a picture, he did this, which was, you know, I don't date much. This was a really fun. I can hang on to this, going, yeah, okay. This was one of the weirdest experiences or surreal experiences of my life. This was in 2008. I was doing a one-to-one. It was in Spain. They were just building the hotel that's now up on the hill, which is owned by the same people as the place where we stay. And we're walking around talking, and this guy was getting ready to work there. You know, he was sweeping, and he stopped me and he said, "Are you American?" And I said, "Well, yes, I am." And he whipped out a harmonica and played the Star Spangled Banner. Really strange. It was lovely, but a little bit surreal. So that's my Star Spangled Banner story. Here is another story that I'm sorry the picture is a little blurry, but I was laughing too hard to take a good one. I was doing a one-to-one with my friend Ava in Spain, and we were going to get something to drink. So I went up to the bar and I ordered tea with milk. And the guy looked at me funny and he said, "Tea with milk?" I said, "Yes, tea with milk." So I get the teacup, the teapot, and it's got the cover on it. And so I said, "Well, I'll check to see if it's ready." I open it up and he had used steamed milk and stuck a tea bag in it. And I'm going, I asked for tea with milk. That's what I got.
Lost in translation.
Yeah, really. And my friend was like, "We can take it back." And I was like, "Are you kidding? This is the only chance I'm ever going to get to drink anything like this." And it wasn't bad. This was in Germany, outside after the program. I was walking through a park and these young men were taking pictures, holding the Afghan? No. Shoot. I can't remember the name of the country now. But the flag. What?
Turkey?
No, it wasn't Turkey. But it was, and I'll have to look it up. I have it, but I didn't write it down here. Anyway, they were from this country. They were holding the flag. And so I said, well, one of them was taking a picture of the others. And I said, well, let me take a picture of you. So I took a picture. And they wanted to have a picture taken with me. So here I am. And I remember walking away and just going, I love travel. I just love travel. This is such a cool experience.
That's the Algerian flag.
I'm sorry?
I think that's the Algerian flag.
That was it. Thank you so very much. You are absolutely correct. Okay, this is in Germany. We were not near anything to shop at. Even when we went into the village, there wasn't really much to do much shopping. But there was this really nice looking locked cabinet. And this French woman, these were jewelry things that she made, and they were there for sale, but the cabinet was locked. So the last day I went up to the person who owned it and just, at the hotel and said, "Oh, can we open this cabinet?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, sure." She literally sold out. I mean, we were all like, "Yes, jewelry, the jewelry." Here's another story from Germany. When we were walking into the village, I had met a woman from Florida, and she and I became fast friends. Her name was Ellen. And we were walking and talking, and, we started out all in the same group, and then it sort of we sort of stretched out, if you were, and Ellen and I were toward the back. But we were following, on the picture on the right, we were following a couple of the German women. So we figured everything was fine. We got into the village and we hadn't been looking beyond them. They were busy talking. And when we got into the village, we realized we had lost the rest of the group. So luckily, they spoke German. They asked somebody in German. They're not supposed to speak anything other than English, but we figured in this particular case, it was justified. And they, turns out the group had turned and gone, there was a castle, a lot of castles in Germany, and they had turned and gone into the castle. So we walked back, went into the castle, and everybody was getting ready to take their group picture. They hadn't even noticed we were there. I was like, oh, nice, okay. I did in Germany. This doesn't have to do with the program, but did you know that Kinder eggs are illegal in the US? And so I bought some for my sons and brought them back and found out later that actually if you get caught smuggling Kinder eggs, you can be fined $2,000. I was like,
What is
"Oops."
this? What is it?
It's a chocolate egg
Mhm.
with a little
Toy.
capsule inside with a toy.
They have American approved ones now. I've seen them in stores, but the original
Yes.
German ones
They're
are,
not
Yeah.
the same. They're not the same.
yeah.
But yeah, so that's I just want you all to know that I am a felon, having smuggled in Kinder eggs. Four of them. I
Why
don't know
were
if
they illegal? Why were they illegal?
Because the-
American-
Oh,
Go
go
on.
ahead. I have a German
Go
friend. That's what I mean. And so maybe her explanation isn't true. It's because the toys inside don't reach our safety standards for children, and it's marketed to kids. That's what I was told.
Right. Yes,
Choking
and that's
hazard.
pretty much it. They think Americans, our government thinks that parents are too stupid to go, hey, you probably shouldn't eat this. So yeah, they don't. I mean, honestly, really?
We have them in Canada. We have them in Canada.
Okay, I know where to get my Kinder eggs now. But it's like, really, isn't there something more important we should worry about? Okay, this is another story. This is in Hungary. We had to do a group, what do you call it? Like a group thing, a group project. And it doesn't make any difference what you come up with because the whole point is that you're speaking English and you're talking and trying to work things out. So they came up with this, what was it called? Safe Haven was the name of it, but it was supposed to be sort of a love hotel kind of a thing. And as the guy I was sitting in the back because the Hungarians were giving the presentation and when he got Janos, when he got to do that, his part, he whipped his shirt off. What are you doing? So I was glad that in spite of being quite surprised, I did get a picture. Now, to give you an idea how this actually works out, here is a sample day. And this is a sample day in Spain. So you've got, wake up at 8, breakfast at 9, then you have 3 one-to-ones, and each one goes 50 minutes because you have a 10-minute break between them. Then there's a group activity at 1. Lunch and siesta is at 2 because they're Spanish and they eat late. So you're free, you eat at 2. When you get done eating, you are free until 5. So you can go to your room, you can take a nap, you can go for a walk, you can take a swim if the weather is permitting. Whatever you want to do, you can do until 5. Then at 6, you have a one-to-one. At 7, you have, at 7, you have a one-to-one. Then there is, I can't read it because this thing is over. Let's see if I can move it. Hold on here.
Okay,
There
we
go.
can say it.
I know, but I couldn't read it because I had the thing that has, chat and participants and all of that was over it. And then you have theater and presentations at 8, and then dinner is at 9. And in the German one, it's almost the same, except you eat at 1, you eat lunch at 1, and you have dinner at 7. And then the other ones are pretty much the same. None of them are as late as the Spanish one, though, because, like I said, the Spanish, the first time they talk about that and they say, well, and dinner's at 9, and all of the Anglos go, oh my gosh, that's really late. And all of the Spaniards go, oh my gosh, that's really early.
Are all the one-on-ones with different people, the same
Yes.
people? I wasn't clear.
Okay, yes, they are with different people. In an ideal world, and it usually is pretty close to ideal, you get to have a one-on-one with everybody in the program, at least once. So here are a few questions that came to my mind, which is, can I go solo? Absolutely. The first 2 programs I went by myself. The second program the first 3 programs I went by myself. The third program in Spain, I met my friend Paula. The next year, the 2 of us went back together and we met Kate, and it's been the 3 Musketeers ever since. Is there an age limit? No. I am, next week I turn 70, and believe me, there are people a lot older than me. So, and we discussed the dietary restrictions. They will do everything they can to accommodate your dietary restrictions. You just need to let them know ahead of time. Mobility restrictions, there isn't a lot of walking involved unless you want it. I mean, some people do it during their one-to-ones. They go for walks and everything, but you don't have to. You can sit in the lobby of the hotel. If we go into the village, they provide, if someone needs transportation rather than walking, they will provide it. They are very good about taking care of their people. What if I'm shy?
Can I ask a question? What about transportation from the main cities? Like if you're working 4 hours outside of Madrid, do they provide transportation?
I'll explain that. Okay. What if I'm shy? That shouldn't be a problem. Number one, yes, they have skits and theater programs. No one is required to do those. One-to-one, you're sitting and talking with someone one-to-one. That shouldn't be that difficult unless you're really, really, really shy. That should not be a problem. You get a chance. There's always something to talk about. They give you, for each one-to-one, you are given an idiom to talk about and a prepositional phrase. Now, the first time I did the program, excuse me, and they said, okay, and for each one-to-one, you'll get a prepositional phrase. And all the Spaniards went, oh, yes. And all the Anglos went, what is a prepositional phrase? Because we don't need to know that stuff. But I'll tell you what a prepositional phrase is. It's a preposition or a word that goes before another word that changes the meaning. For instance, the verb lay. You can be laid off. You can lay on something. You can lay under something. You can have a lay by. You can have a layover. You can get laid. Those little words change the meaning completely. So we understand all of that, but it must be just crazy to try to learn that. So that's what the prepositional phrase is. But you can talk about them. It certainly is a good place to start your conversation, but you are not required to talk about them. So, that is fine. And, the Spaniards are pretty good about talking too. And so are the other people.
Can you,
So what if I don't-
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, if you're speaking with someone and they say something incorrectly, is it okay to correct them?
Usually what we do is they will tell you this, is you can ask them, do you want to be corrected? Because sometimes they do. They want it to be precise and correct. Other times it's more important to just, talk. To get the words out, because you can get so bound up in trying to say something correctly that you don't say anything at all. Right. So they usually say is just ask the person, do you want to be corrected? And they will tell you.
Is
And
there
what if I
like a
don't like?
training you have to go through, Sheila? Like where they break
Nope.
it? Nope. Okay.
No,
So
you're just talking.
What's
So
their
you're
level of English? Is it advanced
It's
English?
usually
Is
pretty
it?
good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good. They're not there to learn to speak English.
Okay.
They are there to improve their comprehension and their fluency.
Got it.
Do they give you topics?
Yeah. Especially when you have group things, there are interesting topics that you can talk about. They'll give you a long list. You can either go through them, or you can just find one and stick with that, or you can talk about something entirely different. The important thing is that you talk.
It sounds tiring to do that 5 hours a day.
It is a bit of a commitment. It's not like, this is not a free vacation in that you're just allowed to go do whatever you like. You have a commitment because you're there, and I have been totally impressed over the years with the commitment that the Anglos have to helping the native speakers. Yes, that's why a siesta is a good thing. I find people think I'm an extrovert. I'm really an ambivert. So basically what happens is about halfway through the week during the siesta, I just go to my room and stare at the wall. You know? So yeah, you know, yes, it can be tiring. You don't have to stay up late. You can. Don't try to stay up as late as a Spaniard. It will kill you. Just saying. But, you know, right after dinner, if you want, you can go to bed. And then I'm just going to hit this last thing, which is, what if I don't like someone? Usually the group is big enough. If I've found very few people, and I've done a lot of these groups, very few people that I really didn't get along with, but the group is big enough that, you know, you can just avoid them.
How many people in a group?
It varies because, of course, the program doesn't have control over how many people sign up. And it's the number of Spaniards, or the number, I should say, the number of native speakers who sign up, and that because they want to have an equal number or as close to it as possible of, you know, both sides.
So you're not assigned a person like, okay, now you two are going to go? No, okay.
Well, in Angloville, the last time I did it, we were assigned someone to help them with their presentation. Not, I mean, you still did one-to-ones with everybody, but and in at the Pueblo Inglés and the German one, they could ask you questions, but you weren't assigned to one person.
Okay.
So that's the, these are the links. This is the Angloville link. And I said Czech Republic, Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, Romania, and other places, because they also do sometimes a program in Malta, sometimes in, I've even seen them in England and in Ireland. So yeah. It's you just have to look and see what they're offering now, especially since COVID.
Czech Republic.
They do Diverbo, at least. I know, I mean, Pueblo Inglés does teen and junior programs in the summer, and they run them concurrently with adult programs, not at the same venue, but in a venue nearby. And that works out wonderful for families, because the adults can go to the adult program and the teens go to the teen program, and they're close, but they're not mingling. There's two separate programs, which I think is great. I wish I could have done that with my kids.
I have a question. The
Yes.
teen programs, are these supervised by adults, so the teens are not just left alone?
Oh gosh, no. No, they're definitely supervised.
And then the adult programs, are you ever left one-on-one chatting to someone, or is it always like in a group event, so you feel kind of a bit of safety with
well, you're in an area surrounded by people, even when you're doing one-to-one, unless you choose to go off for a walk. So, you know, I mean, there's no safety problem in that you are there with a group. Even when you're doing a one-to-one, you're not like off by yourself in your room.
Got it.
And to address the question about the program, leaving the program, leaving from the city to the venue,
Right.
there is, usually it's an air-conditioned, beautiful, lovely air-conditioned bus, or coach as they call it, that will take you. You are picked up at, it changes, the time changes depending on the venue and whatever the program, whatever is going on, but it's usually around 9 o'clock on the morning of where the program starts. As I said, I know the Spanish program best. Usually you get picked up at 9 a.m. You're on the bus. It's about a 4.5 hour drive on the bus. So you stop halfway outside of the walled city of Avila, which is gorgeous. I've never been to Avila. I've just seen it from this gas station and cafe about 10 times. One of these days I'm going to make it to the city. They give you water. You can go into the cafe and get cafe con leche or whatever you want. And they also have sandwiches. So you have a snack and then you go the rest of the way to the program. So once you're at the city and once you're on the program, everything is covered unless you want to have something alcoholic to drink like at night. Because even in Spain, after dinner, there's nothing available unless you buy it. So, but unless you're really into alcohol, you can do a program and not pay another cent because, that's everything is covered. So again, here are the programs. Pueblo Inglés, Englishhausen, and Angloville. And I did a book.
Go back, go back.
Okay, go back. Go back
Sure,
to the
there you go.
We do pay for our hotel.
No, everything is covered.
Oh.
Well, I mean, okay, what you do have to pay for is
Your
get
flight.
there. You have to pay for your flight. You definitely should at least spend one night in the city that you're leaving from. Do not try to fly in the morning and catch the bus. That would be crazy. And it's a good idea to spend one night at the end of the minimum, one night at the end of the program, simply so you're not freaking out because things happen, it doesn't happen often, but buses can break down or whatever. And you would be concerned that you would be missing your flight if you were trying to fly out that same night. Also, the cities that you're staying in are wonderful. You should spend at least a couple days, experience.
Yeah, you may want to stay.
Yeah, they're wonderful. So can I move forward now?
I just had a question.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
yes.
Please move forward. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, what was the question?
Just so the length of this is for a week?
Okay, it depends on the program. Diverbo is usually from, Pueblo Inglés in Spain is usually from Friday to Friday. So you start out Friday morning at around 9 o'clock. That's when you get on the bus and you're taken to the venue. Then the following Friday after lunch, you get on the bus again and you're brought back to the city. And you usually get back about 6 o'clock. So that's that one. Some of them go from Sunday to Friday. Now that's usually the German one, I think, goes from Sunday to Friday, and the Angloville ones often go from Sunday to Friday. So they're slightly shorter. Okay, are there any other questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you see a lot of diversity in the groups?
Are you talking about the Anglo groups?
Yeah. Well, both.
Yes.
Because everybody lives everywhere.
Yes, there is diversity. Occasionally, there are people who are not even native speakers. I've been on programs with someone from the Netherlands, a lady from Belarus, or some other places as well. I can't remember right now. And I'm still trying to convince my Japanese friend to go because her English is exceptional and she would have a wonderful time. Because they want different accents because that helps the Spaniards because they have to speak to other people. So yes, there is diversity. There are people, the English speakers primarily come from the US and Canada and Britain. But there's usually a couple of Australians. Sometimes there's someone from New Zealand. I don't think I've been on a program with someone from South Africa, but I believe some other people have. Some of my friends have. So yeah, there is a certain amount of diversity.
Is there an interview? Oh,
I have a
sorry.
question. How difficult is it to get picked as a volunteer?
Right.
Is it like a long waiting list or?
Good question.
Interview process?
I'm sorry?
Is there an interview process?
Not an interview per se. You have an application. And I didn't want to go over the application here. If you are interested enough, here's my book. It is in there. Literally, the application is there with comments on each question. It takes some time because, of course, their main concern is the native speaker end. But it's not difficult to get picked. You don't have to, like I said, you don't have to be a world traveler. Well, I didn't say that, but I'm saying it now. You don't have to be a world traveler. You don't have to have a degree in English or have a TEFL certificate or anything like that. You just need to want to meet people. If you hate people, probably this isn't a good program. Just saying.
Does this happen year round? Do these events happen year round or is it seasonal?
It pretty much, it doesn't happen like in the dead of winter as a rule. I think they pick up in February in Spain at least. I have never done one that close to winter, but they go through the summer. I did one last summer. Just so you know, summer in Spain is stupid hot. I knew it was going to be stupid hot. And I hadn't done a program since COVID. And my friends and I, we were offered the program on August 5th. And we all went, it's going to be hot. And it was. But it was still wonderful. And I'm so glad I did it. As a rule, we tend to do them in fall and spring are the easiest times because it's shoulder season. But, you know, it depends on... for a while, they were doing just tons and tons and tons of programs. Obviously, COVID has kind of affected that. So you just have to look. At this time, you should be able to look on those websites and see the calendars.
I have
So
a quick
you'll be-
question.
Yeah.
How is it handled if, such as a man is trying to harass someone? Is there's a way that they handle those situations if they come up?
I do know of one situation where that happened. And the man was asked to leave.
Okay.
So
that was a man
it doesn't
from
happen
the
often.
town or from the English group?
I believe he was American. Oh no, he was from Britain, but he lived in Florida, and he was there with his wife. Yeah.
I just was, yeah.
Of all the programs I've done, that's the only time I know of anything like that happening.
Okay.
And do you
And
have
it
to
was
pay
doable.
to join these websites?
Oh no. No,
You do?
not at all.
Oh, you don't?
You do not.
Can you repeat that question, please? The woman who just asked you. Repeat the question.
Do you have to pay to join the websites?
Oh, and the answer was?
No.
No, you do not. You do
Thank you.
not have to pay.
For how long is the training?
There is no training.
Okay.
Yeah, although there is, okay, I say you do not have to pay, and I just want to clarify this because I don't know if they're doing it now, but at one point they were, Angloville was asking for a deposit if you said you were going. And the reason for this was a lot of people say they're going and don't show up. and then they're left. I actually did a program. This wasn't an Angloville program. It was a Pueblo Inglés program where on the day of the orientation, one of the people that was supposed to be there had never contacted them and just didn't show up. So if they do ask for something like that, that is the reason. I've never been asked for money for anything, but I do know Angloville sometimes does ask for that.
And you get the money
But
back?
it's not a huge amount.
You get the money back if you show?
I can't remember. I'm so sorry. I never did have to, I haven't done the program since I saw that they were asking, but it will be on the website. They're not trying to use you to make money. If they're doing that, they're doing it for the fact that they need to make sure that the people who say they're going are going.
When you arrive in the country, are you picked up or are you responsible to make it to the orientation the next day or whenever?
You are responsible to get to the orientation and
then
to
what-
get to the jump off place.
And then
you
once
know,
you're at the orientation,
you're covered.
What?
Once you're
are you
the
then
orientation,
within
the
their
orienta-
direction and hands?
okay, the orientation happens beforehand. That is the day before, as a rule. And different places have a different type of orientation. I've been on where they took you on a city walk and had lunch for you. Like I said, in Spain, there was the excuse me, there was the flamenco show. Last time, because they were still coming back from COVID, they didn't have an orientation. So my friends and I got together a dinner at that restaurant, La Bodega Bohemia, and some of the Anglos came to it the night before. Now they're doing orientation things again. Let's see. So that you have to get yourself to the orientation spot. And then, but these cities are easy to get around. I mean, we walked to the orientation spot when we were going to Casapatas. And then to get to where you leave for the program, you have to get yourself there as well. Now you can, by this time you've probably met other Anglos. If you want to share a taxi, if you want to take the metro, you can do any of those things. But it's very important that you get there on time because they're counting on you at that point. But once you're on that bus, everything is covered, as I said, your hotel, your transportation, your food, everything is covered until you return the following week.
So they get you back to the big city so you could go.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Okay.
absolutely. Now, some people may choose, and I've known a few people who have done this, they chose to go on from where the program was. And of course, at that point, they have to, figure their own transportation out. The lovely thing is some of the Spaniards, at least, they drive to the program. And so they would drive them to like where they could catch a bus or a train or whatever.
Sheila, somebody asked about Italy. I guess they can't unmute.
Yeah, Liz can't unmute. She wants to ask about Italy.
Yeah, that was me, and I can unmute now.
Okay.
Hey,
Are
okay,
there any programs in Italy?
None that I am aware of. They tried doing one at one point, and it was very difficult to get in. And the last I heard, they're not doing it anymore. So I don't know of any programs in Italy. I do
What about
know
in
of-
Greece? In Greece?
I don't know of any in Greece. These are the programs I know, except there is one called English Stay that's in the Czech Republic that I mention in the book. But that is a program I've not done myself, but I do know it exists.
Sheila, if do you recommend travel insurance if you get sick while you're there? What would the logistics of that be?
If you get sick while you're there, you're covered on their insurance.
Oh,
really?
Lovely, nice.
But I mean, I do recommend travel insurance because it's just a good idea. So I'm just going to mention a few things that are coming up in case anyone is interested.
Wait a minute,
I
before you
do-
move on, Sheila,
Oh,
I'm sorry,
yes.
excuse me.
Yeah.
So the Pueblo Inglés, I got that. This is a Spanish one. Now the Angloville, what is that? You have to be, you'll be,
Angloville is Central Europe. So primarily Czech Republic, Hungary, Poland, Slovakia, and Romania, and sometimes other places, because it kind of depends. You'll check on their website for what they're offering this particular year.
Sheila, how far is it from the airport to the Madrid? I think that's where you meet up with everybody.
Yes. Well, I don't know in miles or kilometers. When I go, I take the metro because there is a metro that goes directly to Madrid, to the airport. It's Barajas Airport. It only goes, there's only one metro to get on and it only goes one direction. So I like that. So yeah, you can get that way. You can take a bus. Of course, there's if you're staying at a hotel, there may be a hotel shuttle. I mean, you can take a taxi. It is a ways in because airports are always outside the city. So but I don't know how far. But it's not hard. It's not hard to take the metro. I've done it a bunch of times.
Do you travel very lightly?
Bye. Thank
Take
you,
a
Sheila.
bag?
Bye.
Bye. Okay. I heard a question. Do I travel light? Yes, I do.
So you take one bag or like?
I usually have a bag and a personal item because quite frankly, I've done enough traveling. Last year, I did a 10-week trip. Whatever I'm carrying, I'm not so in love with it that I want to schlep it all over Europe. So I would rather have less stuff. And if anyone has any questions about packing light, I can do a thing on packing light if people are interested. Because I'm real good at it. Okay, let me just
Sheila?
run through this. Yes?
Can I ask a question? Have you ever done 2 of these back to back or 3 of them back to back?
I have not. You could. I know people who have. You would get kind of tired, but you know, because they're particularly in Angloville, because it's Central Europe, it's not that easy, you know, it's further to get to. And a lot of times people do multiple programs. I actually had a friend that I had met in Hungary who I commented on one of her things, or I guess I put up a post and she commented on it, and someone that I knew, an Anglo that I knew from the Polish program, commented on it. I'm like, how do you guys know each other?
We're having record
So yeah,
it is really cold.
because they had done,
How would we sign up for your newsletter?
I'm glad you asked. Let me just run through this and I've got the information at the end, okay? So I am a tour operator. I do tours. This is one that's coming up in May. This is a beautiful, wonderful city called, Santa Fe. It's a 4-day program and it's a tour and it's a lot of fun. I also am doing one in San Antonio, another beautiful, beautiful city. And I'm doing one in Chicago, hopefully before the heat gets too bad. This is my information. This is Sheila Stone Tours. There is my email. If you want to sign up for my newsletter, I would be delighted. If you have any questions, please send me an email or, you can send me a text. If you call me, I may not answer because I am on virtually every spam person's list that I could possibly be on. But I will listen to my messages and get back to you, or you can send me a text. Here is a tour that I'm doing this fall. This one, the one for this year is only open until the end of this month. This is the ultimate girly trip. Chocolate, cheese, wine, and spa. And I'm doing another one next year. I'm also doing a Christmas time in London at the early part of December, which is such a beautiful city. And I'm going to be going to Japan next month. That tour is closed, but I've got one coming up next year in the fall and the following year in the spring again.
Wow.
Are all these on your website? Are all these on your website?
They are. Austria is not up yet, but it's going to be. And if you enjoy this, I'm going to be doing another presentation on the Joy of British Gardens on the 25th. That's going to be through the same meetup group. And at the same time, and I do hope you will enjoy and will join us. Okay, now are there any other questions?
One more thing, can you request your own room?
For which program? In the Spanish program, you automatically get your own room. In the German program, you automatically get your own room. In the other programs, you may or may not.
Hi,
So
Shelley.
you would have to see, and I don't know if they would guarantee that or not, because every time I've done it, I've shared a room with my friend.
All right, okay, thank you.
Sheila, my
Okay.
I have
computer,
one more question.
Okay,
Um,
I'm
is-
sorry.
If I'm traveling alone, is there a way to get names of the other people that are going to maybe connect with at the airport to make our way to the other points?
It depends on the program. When we decided this last year, when they said they weren't going to do an orientation, and my friends and I decided that we would just host a dinner. And we said, well, can we get the emails? Can we send out an email to everybody? And because of privacy issues, they said, no, they wouldn't be able to do that. So what we did is I said, okay, fine. We're going to be at La Bodega Bohemia at 8 o'clock on this date. This is where it's at. Just you send it out to them. So you can do that way. Because it depends on the program. But, you know, if you ask, hey, here's my information, please send it out, then that they're better at doing that because, you know, privacy. People are funny about privacy these days. Does anyone else have any questions? Yes?
I have a question. I heard about this program like 15 years ago and I never did anything. But so the Pueblo Anglés, you just go to that and sign up from there, Sheila. I missed something.
Yeah, you go to the website. If you're interested in detailed information, it is in the book, but you can just go to the website and it's there too.
So the website is Pueblo Anglés, and then you have to put in De Verbo Spain or what? I missed it.
What did I put on the thing? I'm sorry.
Maybe somebody else knows. I'm not always good at this.
It was
She's gonna send the
volunteers.
recording though, that'll have it, right?
Yeah,
It's
it'll be on the recording.
volunteers. It's volunteers.puebloangles.com is what you had on the website.
Oh, good,
Whatever's on the
volunteer.
website is right.
Oh, you mean on the website where we got through Meetup?
No,
No,
she had it on this presentation.
Yeah, it was on the presentation website. You can look it up on the recording, or you send me a message.
I'll send you a message. I'm not listening to the recording again. I'll send you a message. That's okay.
Yeah,
Thank
it's toursbysheila@gmail.com.
Got that.
Can you
Okay,
repeat that,
thank
please?
you.
Could you repeat that?
Which part?
The how to get in touch with you?
Tours by Sheila, and that's SHEILA @gmail.com.
And also, is that how we sign up for how do we sign up for the newsletter? My computer froze.
That's how you do it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I see Holly, you're waving your hand.
Yeah, two questions. Where will the recording be posted?
I will say I've not done this before, so I'm hoping. The plan is I have a YouTube channel which pretty much has nothing on it, but I plan to put it on that. And I will, wherever it goes, I will send out a message to the group saying this is where the recording is.
Okay.
And that message will be on the meetup site?
I'll send it to, like I did before, to tell you what the passcode and everything was. I'll send it out to the group, so it'll go to everybody.
Okay. And how far in advance do these companies post on their sites what their needs are? Like, would they have something out there for 2024 or 2025?
At this point, I think 2023 is all.
Okay.
It's hard for them because, of course, the qualifier is how many Spaniards or how many native speakers sign up. So they can't, they can't guess. Okay, I see Sharon, your hand is up.
Yes, ma'am. I wanted to ask you if you could do programs back to back, repeat the program consecutively.
You can. Just be aware you will get tired. You might be tired of talking. Although I've always managed. Funny. Denise, you have a question?
Yes, I joined late. I regret. And where is your book available?
It's on Amazon.
Okay.
So it's available in Kindle and also in paperback. You can either look it up for me as an author, or you can put the name in.
And that the name of the book again is?
Shoot, I kept changing it. Send me a message and I'll send it to you. But if you look up me as an author, it should pop up.
Okay.
Sheila?
I did send you a note requesting those websites.
Okay.
Again, so
and I'll put you know what I can do? I can send a message out when I send the message with the link to the wherever the recording is going to go. I'll also put the links to the book, the links to the to Diverbo and Angloville.
Fantastic.
And so that'll all be in that.
Fantastic.
So that should,
thank you.
Yeah, like I said, I'm still learning on this. Colleen, I see you're waving. Hi.
Hi. Hi, I have a question. Can we just go back? Can you just break down what a normal one-on-one session is like?
It's basically sitting with someone, either getting a cup of coffee or going for a walk or sitting in the hotel lobby and talking for 50 minutes.
Okay.
About whatever you like, 50. So you have 50 minutes and then a 10-minute break, 50 minutes and then a 10-minute break. And that 10-minute break's important, not only for you, but certainly for the poor native speakers who are probably, their eyes are spinning. I mean, even though they speak well, they're not speaking in their native tongue. So, you know, I like I said, I am amazed by them.
And what sort of things do you talk about? Is it just normal everyday conversation? I know that you had mentioned the pronouns, but is it just normal talking about everyday things, or?
Yeah. You don't, I mean, they give you an idiom to talk about, and they give you a prepositional phrase, but you don't have to talk about those. I've had conversations about the craziest things you can imagine. And some of them were quite complex. So, you know, they're good people, they're good speakers, and some of them are pretty high powered. I remember one guy was struggling a little bit. It was the first night, struggling a little bit with his English. And I said, so, you know, trying to draw him out. So, and what is it that you do? And he said, I'm a nuclear physicist. I'm going, okay, I don't have anywhere to go with that. I've met the Rear Admiral of the Spanish Navy.
Wow.
When would I have a chance to do that? Seriously.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Sheila?
Yes.
This is Sharon, and I wanted just to ask you how I missed the very beginning, so I'm not sure if you talked about this. You know, how did you come about joining these programs on your own? And then also, when did you start your tour company? Have you been working in travel your whole life?
No. I'll answer the last question first. I started my tour company 10 years ago. So I'm considerably older than that. And the first, actually, it's interesting because the first program I did, I found it online by accident when I was looking for free accommodation. I had gone back to school. I was a student. I graduated from UCLA when I was 52. Let's see, a question popped up and it distracted me. So I was looking and this popped up and I remember reading about it and going, what's the catch? This is in 2005. I read it again. Not seeing a catch. Read it again. So I said, what the heck? So I sent my application off and that was the first time I went to Spain. The first time I did one of these programs and I have been hooked ever since.
Was that Pueblo Anglais?
Well, interestingly, there was a company, or there still is a company called Vaughan Town. At the time in 2005, what became Diverbo and what was Vaughan Town was one company. And then they split and became two companies. And I don't know the details on that, but, and for a long time, I thought they just changed the name of the company. I didn't realize Vaughan was still going. So Vaughan is also in the book, their information for them. They have a slightly different focus.
And why did you decide to start your own tour company?
Oh, well, okay, Janet, I'll be right back to you. Well, I earned my master's degree. I came back. This was during the downturn. I got a couple of jobs which did not last long. And I decided at that point, being in business for myself couldn't be any crazier than trying to work for people who kept laying me off. So
Sheila, I've got a quick question. So you're talking for 15 minutes and you really find that there's a real connection between you and the other person and you. And you've already talked about some information where you're wanting to refer them to a website. Let's say their husband has Parkinson's and you're like, oh my God, I've been studying Parkinson's for the last 3 years. I'd love to send you some information if you'd like to receive it, because there are so many websites here and podcasts that are not necessarily in other parts of the world. I'm finding that out with a friend in Switzerland. I would think that everything here was available to them, but not necessarily. So do you ever exchange email addresses and say, would love to keep in touch? Or is that a no-no?
No, you can, but and at the end of the program, what they do is they send around a list and every person can put down their email address. You can choose to not have your email address shared.
So that on small ship cruises, yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you have WhatsApp, right?
Well, I'm sorry?
You have WhatsApp as well, so you could share information.
Oh yeah, and then you have WhatsApp. Right. Janet, your hand is up.
Yeah, maybe I missed the part about other countries. So if I wanted to do a program like this in Italy or someplace else, how would I find out about programs there?
I don't know personally of any programs in Italy. I'm not
Google
saying
it,
they don't
Google
exist.
it.
Yeah, I would just Google it.
Okay,
You know,
but-
English intensive program Italy.
Okay, so the only programs that you know about are the two that you shared with us today.
I actually shared, two programs.
websites.
No, there are more than that, and I do know about them. I put them in the book, but I didn't have them in here because I don't know that much. Those are the two I know the most about.
Okay.
I listed some other ones in the book, but I haven't personally done those.
Okay, thank you.
So, yeah, but there are other programs, I'm sure.
Do you know
Yes.
of any in Switzerland or Austria?
I don't know of any programs there. To be perfectly honest, at least in Switzerland, everybody seems to speak like 27 languages. So, you know, I don't know if they have a reason for it. I was in Austria last summer, which I'm putting together an Austrian tour. I'm telling you, it was one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in my life. It was incredible. I don't know of any programs in Austria. Germany, well, one of the German programs is leaves out of Munich, which is very close to Austria. Yes, Charlotte.
Oh, do you need any assistance? Do you need any people to assist you? I'll sign up for that one as well.
I only wish I had enough business to need an assistant. I'm still trying to recover from COVID. I don't mean having COVID. I mean the world having COVID. Yeah. So I'm trying to get my programs back. So if anyone is interested, yes, Shirley.
On the tours that you have on your own tours, do you lead the tour?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yes, I put them together and I lead them. So I'll do just a quick blurb. I put them together, I lead them. Everybody gets her own room at no extra cost. And there was something else. Oh, they're small groups. They're all women, and they are small groups, meaning 10 or less. So never.
Are you
more
on
than 10.
Wonderful? Are you
No.
on Wonderful? The
I am
women's
not.
travel?
I'm on Facebook. If you're interested, you can look up Sheila Stone Tours on Facebook. That's my Facebook page.
And I want to get your book,
I'm going to be going to Japan in, let's see, it's the 4th. Okay, so in about 5 weeks. I'm leading a tour there for the cherry blossoms, and I'll be posting on Instagram. I'll be posting on Facebook. And if anyone is interested in following that, it's going to be pretty amazing. I'm really excited. I've been to Japan a number of times. I've done tours in Japan. And then, well, I did a tour in Japan, and then COVID happened. So the tour I did was November of 2019. I was like, great, I'll do this every year. Okay, maybe not. And this is the first I've had a chance to go back. So I plan on doing the spring tour this year, a fall tour next year, and a spring tour in the following year. Yes, Denise.
I've forgotten my question.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So then you have in-country guides.
Oh, yes, local guides for the tours. Yes, I use local guides. I don't in London because I've been to London enough times. I'm pretty well versed. But certainly in Japan, we have local guides. We meet a lot of local women, all of whom speak amazingly good English. And on the other tours, we try to meet locals. We try to stay in places as much as possible that are smaller, locally owned hotels rather than, putting money into Paris Hilton's trust fund. And try to eat in local places. And we use public transportation as much as we can, because I want people to have a more local feeling experience.
So what would you say is per diem for a trip to Japan?
I don't know. You can look at how, the trip is 2 weeks long, and this one was about 5,900.
So about 400 a day.
And that covers 2 meals a day, all your transportation, all your group admissions, all the guides, all the experiences. We wear kimonos. We in Kyoto, we have a tea ceremony. We do indigo dyeing. We're having a calligraphy experience, Japanese calligraphy, and other things. And
does it include the hotel?
Oh, of course, yes.
Because that's pretty reasonable for 2 weeks.
And the international fare. Yeah.
I'm sorry, you dropped out.
International fare, airfare.
I'm sorry. That does not include airfare. Airfare, sadly, has become so volatile that, you know, unless you're a really big company, I don't see how you can include airfare because it can go, you know, it's like this. It's just crazy.
Right. So many people have points they want to use and it gets very complicated. Mhm.
Yeah,
My cousin
it's-
used to live in Japan and it's very pricey over there. So I think your price sounds reasonable for 2 weeks.
I think so too. And it's a wonderful, please follow me. If you're at all interested, please follow. You'll see lots of wonderful pictures. I'm really excited. I've never been to Japan during cherry blossom time. And so I can't wait to post all these beautiful, wonderful pictures. And as I said, there's 2 tours coming up. Would love, you know, next year and the following year. So please, I would love to have you ladies join me.
Sharon, I
Or at
remembered my question. Are you going to put all your contacts, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, in your email to us?
I will. Actually, I didn't think about it, but you know, links, writing myself a note.
You might end up with a few clients.
I'm sorry?
You just might end up with a few more clients.
That would be fantastic. Like I said, it's been really tough since COVID.
Right.
But yeah, I'd love to have you guys join me. Please, I will put all that information in the thing I send out. It may be a couple of days. I don't know how long it's going to take me to figure out how to get it up.
Sheila, I have a hot tip. Okay, for you promoting your business. Are you familiar, because it is national, are you familiar with the electronic bulletin board called Nextdoor? Nextdoor.
You know,
Okay.
I'm familiar with them, but I've never thought of using that.
I use
I
used them
didn't-
twice already this morning. I used them for a plumber and I used them for an electrician just this morning. You get local, you get neighbor referrals. I mean, what?
Yeah.
And they
And you
also
can also, I think there's a national link, so whatever floats your boat. It's, I
Yeah,
think they're
if I
quite
can-
good.
Yeah, well, I will certainly do that because I certainly am looking for clients and I'm looking for the kind of clients that are here, you know, wonderful women who want to make new friends. And if you're not a intrepid traveler, these are good tours if you are an intrepid traveler or if you're a solo traveler, but they're also good if you're not an intrepid traveler because I'm really good at holding people's hands.
You
I
know
want
what?
everyone to be comfortable and have fun.
I have
Yes,
a quick comment. I am, as some other people on this show, I was gonna say show, on this presentation today, women traveling solo women travelers, women over 50, all of that on Facebook and such. But you know what? I mean, and I've traveled with small groups. That's all I've ever traveled with, and even on 45 people on a cruise kind of thing. So the deal is that people get into situations with cab drivers, with whatever, and I think if solo travel is so great, why would I spend any amount of money to constantly have to look over my shoulder to see if if I'm being had?
Well, you know what? I've traveled a lot by myself without any group at all. And all you do is show confidence and tell them to leave you alone, and they will. And some women I know will actually buy a ring that looks like a wedding ring and mention you're meeting with your husband. There's lots of ways to do it because I loved it. It was some of the best experience I had was traveling completely by myself. I think it's just a matter of attitude.
Yeah. I'm assuming people love it. Sharon, have you been to New Zealand or done any trips there?
I have not. It is one thing I would love to do, but I haven't at this point. So my tours are mainly in Europe and in Japan, and in the US. But yeah, I mean, I certainly would love to go to New Zealand. And I have traveled quite a bit. Like I said, I did a 10-week trip last year, most of it by myself, although I did see friends and I spent a week doing Diverbo and things like that. So, you know, I mean, the important thing is to travel. The thing about traveling solo is it does require a lot of work. If you like doing that, that's great, and you should. If you don't want to do that, but you don't want to go on a big tour, I'm a good alternative. And if you're interested in some other places, I know other tour operators. I don't go everywhere. I'm just one person, and I'm not even that young a person. But I know people who do have tours in other places, usually companies owned by 1 or 2 people. So if there's any place specific you're interested in going, please contact me. I'll try to connect you with someone who can help you.
I have just one quick question. How big do you max out your groups at?
I said no more than 10.
No more, I missed that, I guess. That's
Yeah.
really nice size. Okay, thanks.
Sure. Okay, ladies, if there are more questions, I'll answer. I see there's 75 things in the chat. I can't look at them now, but I'll go through them. I'll get a copy of that because it comes to me, and then if there are any questions in the chat that I did not get asked, I will try to contact people and answer them. If nobody else has any other questions, I have kept you for nearly 2 hours. I apologize for being loquacious. But if anyone has any questions, just let me know. No, looks like we're good.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you
Fantastic. Thank
all.
you.
Thank you all for showing up. This is so much more fun than talking to myself. And I really appreciate it. Like I said, there is a travel log coming up in a couple of weeks. Would love to have you join. It's on gardens in Britain, and I've got some beautiful pictures, and would love to share them with you. Thank
Would
you so
also
much.
like to do one on packing. You mentioned the packing one. Would like to
I
do
would be
that.
happy to do one on
Oh,
packing.
yes, I would love that too.
I've traveled for years and I still don't have it down very well.
Every
Not
time I
really
try
good
again.
at it. Especially when I was doing this last time, because I was spending a week and a half in Austria by myself, and I went to 5 places in a week and a half. And it was like, I'm going to be on trains. I'm going to be on taxis. I'm going to be walking. I've got to only have one bag. So yeah, happy to do that. Okay, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Bye.
much for all your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye. You're very welcome. It's supposed to hit.